Hey guys, it's Hike here. I decided to make a bit of a series here of just videos just talking about life lessons I've learned over time. Just for the hell of it, just to kind of get it out of the way. But anyway, just one moment. You always got to have your prescription. Anyway. So, life lesson number one is obviously that life doesn't last forever. Of course, I think a lot of us know this. I think even somebody that's mentally challenged knows this, but I don't think that you truly know it until you get to a certain age. I I just think that this is something that you truly learn as you get a bit older. I think I finally truly learned this notion when I was 26 years old, and I noticed that my back just wasn't able to do the same things that it used to. I remember back when I was able to just do backflips like that, like front flips, back flips. I mean, Jesus. Um, and I remember I used to feel like I could, jump up and touch the ceiling. But and of course my back's just fine. I'm able to care for it, but it's of course still not like it used to be even then. And of course that's when I first realized, I'm getting older. I'm getting older. One of these days I'm going to get old to a point where I'm not going to be physically able to do a lot of the things that I used to be able to do or that I'm able to do at the moment. And, I'm just going to get old. Of course, one day I'm going to die. And then, of course, and, I'm, of course, obviously going to get another car, possibly within the next 10 years. One of these days, of course, last year, which was, of course, a shitty year for all of us. I lost my cousin, Sam, he was almost 26, actually, I think. He was within a week of becoming 26 years old. He was a good friend. Another thing you realize is, you know, whether we like it or not, we are also going to lose all of our relationships. One of these days, of course, my uncle, who was, the father to my cousin, is also one day gonna die. My aunt's gonna die. My father's gonna die. I'm gonna die. My brother's gonna die. It's just gonna happen whether we like it or not. We're gonna lose everything over time. I mean, 5 years from now, I'm probably gonna stop using this laptop that I'm using right now. Everything. I mean, everything. Nothing just lasts forever. I mean, some of the car collectors that I see sometimes, that some of these cars are like over 100 years old. And it's just, when you really think about it, it really is amazing that, sometimes people are able to keep track of stuff like this. And, the kind of work that it really does take to manage all this stuff and keep it working and just keep everything together, even if it's a even if it's just a vehicle, let's say, that's it's just there. When you really think about it, it's just amazing. Even if it's a vehicle that isn't working, like some of the World War I and II vehicles that they still have around, and some of those are actually still working. It's just fucking amazing when you really think about it. But of course, enough about that. Point is, you know, we've got to be aware of our surroundings sometimes. And this is part of the reason why I hate people that I guess I would call whiners, and why I made the video defending Cyberpunk 2077. Because, I just always think it's funny how people always take advantage of what's given to them like that. I mean, there's plenty of countries that don't even get video games still to this day. And just like the men going their own way movements, they always complain about how oppressed they are and why they aren't going out with women anymore. It's like, well, how about this other country where you're basically are forced to be married? I mean, just think about it that way. We actually have the privilege of not, if we don't want to get married in America, we have that choice. We have that privilege. I mean, that doesn't sound very oppressed to me that we actually have a choice to not get married. Because there's still plenty of countries out there where you're basically are just forced to get married to this day. And, there's plenty of kids, some of them are given an AK and they're sent to war in different countries. We've got to stop. And I've realized over time is that we've got to stop worrying about the past so much and, stop bringing it into our present. Because if we do that, it just makes our lives that much worse. And if we stop learning, we slowly die over time if we stop learning because we aren't progressing if we are not learning. These are, of course, things that, of course, school never teaches us. This is the kind of stuff that school never ever teaches us. In fact, even when I was, 16, 17, 18 years old, I had realized at the time that school doesn't prepare us enough for what's really out there. I just think it's so silly how, we can be so isolated in our school work and all these tests that they give us and all this homework that they give us. And yet, all it does sometimes is keep us back, because, for instance, when I went to college to become a welder, all I was taught was how to do a test and how to pass a test. Going to college and going to that class didn't prepare me for a welding job. It prepared me for a test. And that's just kind of how life is. You've got to really, get into something to actually learn how to do something. But of course, the problem with something like that is that nowadays they're trying to make it to where people, if you haven't gone to college, even if you know what you're doing, you still have to go to college, and that's the only way that they will hire you. They have kind of put that, force, or should I say, ugh. Sometimes I just don't even know what I'm talking about. Obstacle. They have put that obstacle in our way nowadays. But what also I've realized over time is that workplaces have also taken our security away. They have taken our job security away. And of course, a lot of people think that their lives rely on these workplaces, when in a sense, and it actually never really has, which is something I always thought was weird. How I always think it's weird how, again, workplaces have taken advantage of, its own people sometimes, which is not a good thing because that also causes a lot of issues. And they always say, like, oh, if you aren't able to work for us, then you're a loser. You have to impress us like we're gods or something. And it's just like, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I just feel like we're just supposed to live for work or something. You know what I mean? Like all we are just these puppets sometimes. You know what I mean? Of course, I've always got to laugh about everything. I've always got to look at life and laugh at it. And that's, of course, what my grandfather taught me, is to just look at life sometimes and just laugh at it. Because, again, life doesn't last forever. It just does not last forever. These workplaces aren't going to last forever. I'm not going to last forever, etc. This lack of security with our jobs isn't going to last forever. Just like when it comes back, it's also not going to last forever again. Nothing ever lasts forever. This country isn't going to last forever, etc. You know. But with, of course, that being said, I guess I'll just end this video because I think you guys get my point. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.